Hello, Internet world, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Art of Inspired Selling. My name's Catherine Nunez, and I'm the host of the show where I interview very successful 6 and 7 figure solopreneurs that are not just surviving in this new normal, but they're thriving. We're 2 years into this beautiful pandemic because that's how I'm going to reframe it, and I'm going with it. And what started out as a Facebook fiesta party to have cocktails with my friends has turned into the Art of Inspired Selling. It's a long form show where I interview people and they give you teachable moments. They give you nuggets of wisdom that you can use to insert in your business today. Because, girlfriend, we are here to make a mark on this world. We are here to take our subject matter expertise and splatter it in a very organized manner to the world so that we can make a difference and continue to transform lives. So today on the Art of Inspired Selling, I have a guest that's across the pond, and she's such a sweetheart for staying up late for us. So Daisha Wadrup, and please correct me when you come on if I'm saying your name wrong. She's going to be here today to talk to us about KPIs. So on February 4th, it was National Numbers Day. And I love numbers. I love numbers. I love spreadsheets. I love building pivot tables. If I have an idea, I create a spreadsheet for the idea. My camera, I can't sit still. I'm sitting down today because I have a fractured ankle and I'm not going to stand through this for my brace. So if I go in and out, whatever, it's not about me. So numbers are so important, making data-driven decisions about what we're going to do, about the impact that we're having, the positive business impact that your posts, that your content, that your ads, that whatever you're doing, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So I'm bringing Daisha here. Daisha, right? Okay. I'm bringing her here today. She has launched a phenomenal new Facebook monetized group we're going to also talk about, but she's going to teach you all the different things that she knows about social media metrics and about how to manage this. So she has been working in marketing for almost 10 years. She is accredited by Facebook as a lead trainer, has helped businesses scale to 6 and 7 figures since launching her business called Social Treats in 2016. Daisha has perfected an organic marketing system that she now teaches through her own coaching programs. So now, before I slam your name another time, welcome to the show. And what is it Daisha or Daisha?
Disha. Yeah.
Daisha. You know what? I won't even mess that up again. So we're being joined here by people as people are rolling into the show. My friend Precious is on the show. She says, looking radiant. Love to see you, Precious. Precious has a wonderful, not only is she a financial coach in Beverly Hills, little pinky up there, she's also running a very successful not-for-profit where she helps children in Africa and that have problems and medical needs, primarily cancer. I've been on her board to help her out. So you guys should check out Precious Kids Foundation and see how you can make a change and difference in the life of a child that might not have an opportunity for survival. So cheers and high five to you, Precious, for showing up for the live. So Daisha, tell us about how long have you lived wherever you live? Where do you live?
I'm in Manchester in the UK. I moved back here actually in 2016 when I officially started my business. My business actually started at the back end of a 5-year traveling trip where I spent 5 years traveling the world, mainly Asia and Australia. And I decided that lifestyle was something I wanted to continue doing. And whilst traveling, I was working in jobs that didn't allow me to keep traveling. So I decided that I had to create a business that was going to allow me some freedom, some flexibility, and to allow me to jump on a plane whenever I want to. And I was in New York last week, taking full advantage of that.
I forgot you were coming over here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I built my business to allow me to do just that and travel more and enjoy it. So I have my base here in Manchester in the UK and travel as much as possible pre and post COVID,
Pre,
hopefully.
post, and during,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's exactly what I'm doing. Little side note is I'm a life traveler. I love to travel. If I have an extra 20 bucks in my pocket, how far will it take me kind of mentality?
Yeah.
And so I too am location independent, and I want to have a house in San Diego or even just a room. I just need a little pied de terre. I don't need a lot here, Mexico, and in France. So that's my goal, 2025. Hold me accountable. That's what I'll be doing, is living a life in those three places with little side trips.
Yes, I love that. I have a map on my wall of Valencia in Spain as well, which is where I want to have a place.
Oh,
So
you'll be a little south, so we'll just meet up. We'll just
yeah,
do a little
exactly.
weekend, with those $79 round trip tickets or whatever they are, $17. All right. So one of the questions that I always ask my guests on this show is what inspired you. So you talked a little bit about that, right? Is travel, but that's what inspires you. What inspires you to teach the people? First of all, who's your target market?
So my target market is service-based entrepreneurs that want to create a bigger impact and income in the world.
Okay, check. I love, those are my people too. And so what inspires you every day to get up and do that? Not besides the life on the road, or is that it? Is that you want to do that, or do you have a book, or do you have a mantra? Like, what helps you wake up and enjoy life?
For me, it's the biggest reason for my business is helping people to see that there is a different way from the norm. And that has been my entire life pretty much. I when I was finished university, and I had the boyfriend and I had the job, and I was like, this cannot be it. Like this this is not it, right? This has to be something else. And I split up with the boyfriend, and I went I just sold everything and booked a one-way ticket to Thailand. And that was the start. That was in 2012, and that was the start of, okay, I'm gonna go figure out this, how to do something different than what I'd always been told you were supposed to do. Get a job, get a house, get married, have kids, all of that stuff that you're supposed to do. I was like, there's got to be something else that I can do with my life. So that is my biggest mission, is to help people realize that they don't have to stick within the box that society has created for us as we're growing up, and they can do whatever they want. They don't have to spend their entire life traveling like I do. They can do whatever they want, but just to see that there are other opportunities and other things that are out there for people.
And as I like to say in my story, my mom's voice is, "You were meant for more."
Exactly.
Right? It's
Yeah.
that whisper. It's that whisper that you hear in your ear, like, there's more to life than fill in the
Yeah.
blank.
Yeah.
There's more to
Absolutely.
life than living. So I like to work with women. There's more to life than living in this male dominated culture, the pale, stale male,
Yeah.
grind it out, make cold calls, bust out of the box, all those things. Like, oh, I'm going to flow with the wind today and work from Paris under the
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower. And I'm going to drink wine by 2 and still
Yeah.
make 10 grand for the day, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. One of my biggest mantras is to say yes to everything. So say yes and then figure it out. And that's how I've ended up in some rather risky situations traveling, but also some fantastic situations, right? Things that anybody who had been more sensible, possibly, might not have got themselves into. I'm like, sure, we'll get on the back of that tuk-tuk with some random stranger and see where that goes, because you never know
You
who you're
never
going to meet.
know. Right. And so we have another one of my clients, Tori's on here. She says, hi, shout out to Tori in Canada, who's changing lives for women in government agencies who know they have that same, you were meant for more. right? They have
Yeah.
that same whisper in their ear, and Tori's going to help them do that. So yes to the wine under the Eiffel Tower from my girlfriend that doesn't drink wine, but she'll pour it. I know she'll pour it. So besides having fun on the show, we're going to teach you guys some things now. Even after I sent out that email today about what we were going to talk about, metrics and numbers tend to send some creatives who have this expansive mind into a tailspin, right?
Yeah.
If they have to sit down and write it, they'd rather throw up or lay on the ground and kick and, with their hands and fists and have a little bit of a fit. So give us a little bit of an easier way and tell us why KPIs should be measured. Like, first of all, key performance indicators. Tell us a little more about that fancy word that people use.
Yeah, so key performance indicators, as one of my clients actually said the other day, micro goals, which I kind of liked.
I like that too. I'm typing that in the chat, you guys. We're taking that one home.
Micro
Right
goals. I think key performance indicators comes from a very corporate background. And my background was originally in events. So very corporate style events, weddings, conferences. So key performance indicators and organization. I love a list and a spreadsheet and everything. But micro goals keep us on track, right? They are. And I have a quote from Brendan Bouchard, actually, that I wanted to share with everybody because it is just so powerful. I've been reading his book recently. And it says, though people who set goals and regularly self-monitor are almost 2.5 times more likely to attain their goals. They also develop more accurate plans and feel more motivated to follow through on them. So even KPIs or micro goals can make you 2.5 times more likely to achieve them. And I set these KPIs on a daily basis to keep myself accountable and to keep moving forward. And some of my clients, I asked them recently so I could tell you guys about how they were finding, because I've just launched a new program where everybody is sticking to KPIs every day. So I was like, right, guys, how are you finding sticking to these KPIs? And some of the feedback was, I love to fill in my KPI daily. It keeps me accountable, and it's always good to see the numbers and realize how I'm growing gradually. So somebody else put, I'm inspired by everybody else doing theirs and I need to pull my finger out, which is always one, right? And then I love having these metrics at hand and filling them out every day, and it keeps me accountable. So having these just little micro goals to keep yourself moving forward means that the big ones, like the huge income goals that you want to hit and the impact that you want to have, seem closer when you're just focusing on those micro goals and moving forward a little bit. And the cool thing about them is they're yours, right? You can create micro goals for absolutely anything you would like.
Yes. Tori says, would you equate micro goals to your daily activities that move you towards your bigger goal?
Yeah, absolutely. So it can be anything. Like you mentioned on my intro, I'm Facebook trainer. I absolutely love Facebook, Instagram. So they're mostly the platforms that I hang out on. And so my KPIs are sort of how many new Facebook group members have I got each day? How many posts am I sharing in other people's communities? How many posts am I sharing on my own page? All these sorts of things that I like to track in my business. But the cool thing is my clients have created their own one. So some of my clients have like TikTok accounts and other various social media accounts, like how many times are they posting on there each day? And they can then track each week and keep themselves accountable to move towards those bigger goals. And then of course you can also track sales and all
and
that.
Right. So they're setting like their monthly benchmark of, did you help them with these goals? Wait, let's just back up. So we're talking to a larger audience here. We're live on all kinds of platforms. What's a reasonable goal for growing your established Facebook group? What do you see? Give me a benchmark. So people, because I know there might be people there that says, well, I grow my person by one person a day and I'm super happy at that.
Yeah.
So what do you see for a 350 person Facebook group? how many people get added a week? Do you see any benchmarks for that if they're actively working on it?
Yeah, so I personally aim between 25 and 35 people per week into my group, new people into my group.
Okay.
That's what I aim for. I have clients that aim for more than that, 35 to 45, and I have clients that just aim for like 7.
Okay.
So it has to be something. And what I do when I'm starting working with clients is I get them to track these KPIs by what they're doing now. So how many people now are you adding to your Facebook group? How many posts are you doing now? What does that look like now for you? And to just track your actual activity rather than setting those targets straight away, and then set tiny influence targets. So not huge wish list targets that you're never going to reach when you've only done one person a week for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Then you're going, I'm going to get 50 next week. Like, let's set realistic goals. Let's aim for 5 next week and then 10 the week after maybe, and build it up from there. Because also we want to make sure that our KPIs are achievable, because if they're not achievable, we still feel deflated at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing I want to point out is when you set these KPIs, what I like to do is set my celebrations as well at the exact same time. So what am I going to do when I hit these KPIs at the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month? And what does that look like? Like, it could look like a glass of wine. It could look like a bottle of champagne. It could look like a day at the spa. It really doesn't matter what it is. It's that you've assigned some sort of celebration to hitting those targets, because then you feel more inspired to do it the next time and the next time. So set your KPIs and set your celebrations at the same time.
So do you have a list that you're going to share with us of the different types of social KPIs? If you have a spreadsheet or something as a gift, I don't know.
Yeah. So I use a spreadsheet to track KPIs. I have also used software like Airtable, and you can print it out. I used to have it on my wall, but find something that works for you. And what I found most recently that works for myself and most of my clients right now is just an Excel spreadsheet. So if you guys want a copy of my spreadsheet, then you can send me a message. I can send it out to you guys, and we can get you using that, and you can edit it to make it your own. And that's the key point, right? You don't need to use my KPIs. You can set it to make sure that they're your own KPIs, and you can use that. And it tracks it all from leads all the way through to conversations, sales calls booked, and revenue at the end as well, so that you can see what your actions are actually resulting in as you move along the KPI spreadsheet too.
I use a Google Sheet, and I actually have my VA tally everything up weekly.
Yeah.
So there's a step that's missing for me, and I don't know if it's missing for all of you or for anyone. So it's one thing to say, "Oh my gosh, I have this beautiful KPI tracker," and then, "Oh my gosh, my VA does all the tracking." Okay, so now what? I'm showing growth.
Yep.
Right. It's because I'm doing actions every day. The kind of growth we really want to see, right, is growth that leads to profitability, to sales calls. And sometimes we can't really measure. Okay, I did a post and I got 1,200 views and 25 comments and 1 share. And tell me how you're taking these metrics and using them to say, well, that led to a sale.
Yeah. So the main aim for myself is getting into conversations with people. So for me, in the way that I work in my business, I'm very relationship focused, and I like to build those relationships first rather than going into the cold hard, here's my link, go buy from me.
Yes.
Style. I am more, send me a message, let's have a chat and see where we go from there. So one of the key KPIs that I follow is how many direct message conversations have I started, and how many conversations have actually resulted in conversations, because how many times have you sent a message where nobody's responded, right? And so that doesn't really count if nobody has responded to you. So where you also track is how many conversations those messages have turned into, and then how many sales calls you've booked off the back of those conversations as well. I hate jumping on sales calls, right? If I'm honest, I don't want to jump on sales calls with everybody. And I see it all the time online. Do you want 30 sales calls a week? No, absolutely not, because that is most of my week spent on sales calls. No, I don't need to spend that much time on a phone call. So I pre-qualify people in direct message and then get them on a sales call. So my sales call link is never publicly available for people to access until I've had that conversation. I've pre-qualified them, and then I give them the link to book in a call.
That's a tip, and that's a strategy for you guys to consider, because a lot of people want to put their calendar out for everyone to go to. But it depends on the type of conversation that you want to have. There's not a lot of hours in the day to just chitty chat and drink coffee with people. That's what networking is, or happy hours are for, right? But
exactly.
These power hours that we have from whatever time we wake up and work to whatever time we go to bed need to be filled with revenue generating activities that are going to move the needle on your business and help you reach those business goals that we all have set for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think one of the things that, we both said that our main aim was freedom. So for me to spend 30 hours of my week on sales calls with people, I'm like, I'd rather pre-qualify in half that time. and then half the time is spent on sales calls, the other half could be spent on the beach.
Tell us a little bit about your messaging strategy. I have a book, you guys might know or not know, I have a book that's on my website for messaging funnels and different ways to message them. And it's really meant to inspire you to think about what's your next step in messaging. It's not just, hey, we're connected now. let me throw up in your inbox and tell you why I'm so hot and why you should go to my free 5-day challenge so that I can convert you. So tell us a little bit about your sales cadence, about the steps that you use to put in place when pre-qualifying people.
Yeah, so one of the main messaging strategies that I use when people join my Facebook groups. So my Facebook group is very much a concierge experience. So rather than just having a Facebook group where people join and they spam posts and they don't really get any engagement and all the rest of it that we've all seen done, my Facebook group is where they join, they get welcomed into the group, they get sent a welcome message. I ask them how I can help them. I ask them if I can ask them a couple of questions so that I can see what I might be able to direct them to, because there's so much content inside of the group. They also get emails from me welcoming them into the group, and also tagged in a welcome post with a whole bunch of stuff in as well. So in that first direct message, I'm saying, hey, welcome to the Scaling with Disha Facebook group. The rules, you can promote yourself. You can do this. I like value over promotion, so don't just drop your links. But there is so much content inside of this group because I'm constantly putting so much information in here. So I would love to get to know you a little bit more and find out what it is you're struggling with in terms of X, because I've asked them where they are in their business on the questions when they've joined the group. So whether they're trying to get to 10K or scale their business or even just starting out. So what are you aiming to do in that basis? And I can see if I can direct you to some content that might be useful for you right now. Most people respond to that because I'm not selling anything. I am like, how can I help you? Where can I send you to give you value? But I need to ask you a couple of questions first, so I'm not just sending you rubbish that you don't need.
And in the questions that they ask before they join, are you subscribing to one of the software that takes all that information and gives it to you in a database?
Yes, it adds it all to my CRM system, my email system, and it also then manages that messenger conversation as well.
Okay.
So it does all of that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to do it manually, and it's a bit much because I have my VA letting people in, and then I let people in, and then I don't have I screenshot the person and I don't go back, and then I have to type it. So it sounds valuable if your goal is to grow a Facebook group and use it as, I believe, someone that I follow, I can't think of her name, says, what is it, a door to the vault or something, where you're getting people in, you're getting your perfect customer into your own fishing pond, so
Yeah.
you can fish in that pond, right? And
Yeah.
then have a series of things that you can offer them or sell to them or help them transform to be a better version of themselves, right? But they opted in. So now
Yeah.
they're opting to do these micro conversions within the group by raising their hand or engaging or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And those questions help you pre-qualify who you want to talk to. Because one of the questions I also ask is, do you want to have a conversation with me about helping you scale organically using Facebook? And when I first put that question in, I was like, who's going to say yes to that? Like, no, they've just met me. They've just joined this group. They're not going to say yes. 50% of people say yes. Which of course I then pre-qualify them, and 50% of those will drop out. But 50% of people when joining the group say they want to have a conversation with me about me helping them to grow organically, which blew my mind when I first put the question in there. I was like, we'll just see how this goes.
So do you guys see the metrics that she's talking about? She knows her numbers. So if 50% of the people say yes, she knows what the number is she wants. 50% of the people get pre-qualified. Those
Yeah.
people get on a sales call. Do you know what your close rate is on your sales calls?
My close rate is really high because I don't convert. I don't get on sales calls with everybody. So I close at about 80%.
Okay, so she is a closing at 80%. And so now she can say how much money she wants to make at the end of every month, and reverse engineering how many people do I need to get in the group?
Yeah.
Because 50% of those people will want to talk to me. And then I just want you guys to see how understanding your metrics allows you to manage and reverse engineer the process so that things are very strategic and you understand. And there's nothing, it's not a shocker that you didn't hit your numbers because you didn't have any sales conversations for the month. You were just hoping you could create this really pretty live show and people are just going to come out to you and say, I want to work with you, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because I have clients come to me quite often. They're like, I'm not making any money. I'm like, how many conversations have you had about your offer recently? And they're like, none. I'm like, so that's why you're not making any money. Like, we have to, I know exactly what I need to do. And those weeks when I'm like, I haven't got any sales calls this week, I'm like, that's because I didn't have any conversations last week because I was busy doing whatever. I'm like, okay, need to have more conversations this week, book in more sales calls for next week. So
Yes.
it's just knowing what you need to do to move the needle and actually pulling your finger out and doing it, which is why the micro goals are so good. So you can see, and I didn't do anything useful today. Tomorrow I'm going to do double what I didn't do today so I can catch up.
Or I'll just be better. Okay, I can forgive myself. I did it. Tomorrow I just need to be better because by whatever date, my goal is going to be this. And I say it every morning when I wake up. I'm so happy and grateful now that by whatever the date is, right?
Yeah.
So then, and that really becomes your reality. You really start to think, oh my gosh, by the end of that date, I'm going to make this revenue. I better get out of bed because I have to get busy. Okay, what are my numbers?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the first thing you think about. What are my numbers? How many sales calls do I have tomorrow?
Yes.
Are you doing your pre-call planning to make sure
Yeah.
you're looking at the people? Anyway, it's not about me. So let's talk. This is something that irks me. The name of my agency is the Social Selling Agency. And that's because I have 30 years of experience in sales. We've moved during the pandemic, we moved to this online platform where that's the only place we could sell. And social selling is what happens at the top of the funnel where you find, connect, and engage with your target market. You're not throwing up, you're not spamming, you're not telling them how great you are. They're just becoming in touch with your brand and you're creating brand awareness. And you're really trying to understand, is this going to be a good prospect for me? Am I going to be able to add value to them? Do they have a problem that I can solve? That's really what social selling is. That's the start of social selling. A lot of gurus that I've followed and talked to, they consider social selling the people that are spamming inside a DM. They're sliding into a DM, either in Facebook, in Instagram, or in LinkedIn. That's what they call social selling. And that's what I call spamming.
Yeah.
There's engaging and there's having conversations. But when they say, are you social selling? They're not talking about, are you doing your homework? Are you doing your market research? Are you finding more people? Are you engaging with them? Are you connecting with them on an emotional level? They're talking about this sliding in and spamming.
Yeah. It's such a weird phrase, I think, in the industry at the moment. Because I launched something a while ago where I used the phrase social selling, and it completely flopped with my audience. They were like, "We don't want to sell. we don't want to be seen as spammy." And I was like, "It's not that," but it's like, right, okay, we'll just change the words back to organic marketing, and
yes,
we'll go that way, because I think people have this preconception that social selling is spamming and just bombing people's inboxes with your messaging. And we all get them. I know I do get tons of messages all the time with links to things. And sometimes if I'm feeling smart, I'll say, if your coach or your person that you're trying to sell for wants to find a better way, let them know they can connect with me, because I teach ways to do this in a non-spammy way.
I need a good dating coach. If there's a dating coach out there, because I get, the fake profiles on Instagram or whatever, and they don't even speak proper English, and they're an educated a surgeon saving the world in some country, right, with a dog and a flower and a kid. But I should come back with them like that. Listen, if you need to learn how to have better conversations with the opposite sex, I highly recommend. I have a friend named Renee Piani. I highly recommend Renee Piani, who can help you find the love of your life. But guess what? It's not me, Block. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't work, guys. Doesn't work in business. Doesn't work in love.
No.
I'm not quite sure. Women and men, I'm not sure. So now, like, you were going to talk to us about, let's see, stories, reels, TikToks, different ways. Let's talk about those. Those are foreign to me. So let's talk about them. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So it's, in terms of tracking everything, you want to make sure that you're tracking whatever works for you. And one of the things that I do with my clients is look at what has worked for them to make sales so far. And some of them, it is Instagram stories. I know I follow one of my previous coaches, actually. Her main platform is now Instagram, and her whole life is on Instagram stories. I don't have my phone connected to me that often that I take that many Instagram stories to have anything to say. But I do try and post frequently-ish. My Instagram is updated. So I put in how many posts I'm going to share on Instagram, how many reels I'm going to share on Instagram, how many stories I'm going to share, how many TikToks I'm going to do, what is that going to look like? And then track those measurements and what turns into sales. Like I've said, I focus mainly on Facebook, and I have Instagram. I have TikTok just to look at the nice looking men, to be honest.
The ones that dance. That's what I'm going to be honest right here.
Right? That's all it's useful for. It's like a guilty pleasure. I just sit and watch it for 10 minutes in the morning. I'm like, okay, I have my fix. That's done now. So I haven't really utilized that platform for business. I have followed some coaches that have, and I think it's a really interesting platform to use for business. The same as Instagram and Reels. I interviewed somebody on my podcast recently about Reels, which was really, really interesting as well, because they talked about the reach that you can get on Reels and how you should be doing them. And they are always on my to-do list. They should go on my KPI tracker, really, because they're just on my to-do list forever and I never get to them. If they were on my KPI tracker, maybe I'd actually see that I've not done it, and hold myself accountable to actually implement those as well. But what you want to do is track whatever it is that you're that will bring you sales. So for me, that's my Facebook group, my Facebook friends, and building that network. So that is what I track. But if for you it's something different, then make sure that you're tracking that. And my clients add their own tracking, whatever they're going to track in their business, into their Kpi spreadsheet so they can visually see it and make sure that they're doing it each day. Because that's the thing, right? Consistency.
Yes.
So many of my clients have said, oh my God, now I'm consistent with my messaging and showing up. I've started making sales. I'm like, funny that. Just showing up every now and again isn't enough. Showing up consistently is going to make all the difference.
Yes, I love that word, consistently. So there's an opportunity here if there's somebody out there, and that is doing some Reels training
Yeah.
for female entrepreneurs, right? I
Yeah.
have no idea what to do with Reels other than watch the dogs and the dancing moves, right? And I don't even get to the business ones because if they're going to tell me how to work and I'm falling asleep at night, I don't want to listen to it. But that's something we're not really talking. We're talking about social media metrics, but also it's just really important to understand where's your target market receiving the message that you want to deliver,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Because and that's the thing, depending on your target market depends on where you need to be focused. Like it could be LinkedIn. I know some people are watching from LinkedIn right now. If your target market is on LinkedIn, then you need to be making sure that your LinkedIn posts are being tracked as KPIs each day and you are being active on the platform. Again, I'm not very active on LinkedIn at all. I occasionally
Uh-oh,
go on.
you're talking to a LinkedIn person.
I know,
Yes.
after we spoke, and I was like, I really need to step up my LinkedIn game. I post on it very infrequently, but I do know I need to focus more on that platform and
Well,
get better
let
at
me
that.
just coach you on that for 1 second. You know you need to get active on that platform. Are you already meeting your financial goals? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
okay. So who's telling you you need to be on that? Your subconscious head, your little friend, or you just feel like you need to be everywhere because
Yeah.
what you're doing is working on Facebook. So could I go over and make it also work on LinkedIn so I can scale faster? Or what would be your strategy for going on LinkedIn?
I want to play with LinkedIn groups
Okay.
and see if I could monetize those as I have monetized Facebook groups. Just to play really and see if that would be a
Well,
possibility.
good luck. I'm sure there's a lot of people. I don't even play in groups. I don't like Facebook or LinkedIn groups. I don't look at them. I don't use them. I don't see their purpose. That's just
Yeah.
me, though. If you
Yeah.
could come
So
up with a great way, I know that there's 800 million people on LinkedIn that would want to hear about
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Stay
Maybe
tuned.
I'll nail it and be able to
Stay
do the
tuned.
exact same thing. Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap the show today, you got give me your. How do you want people to reach out to you to get a copy of the KPI master spreadsheet?
You can send me a message on LinkedIn. I promise I will check it. Or you can send me a message on Facebook. You can join my Facebook group or find me. I'm Disha Waddup. I'm pretty much the only one. So I'm not hard to miss anywhere. Or you can send me a email at disha@dishawaddup.com as well.
Okay, I'm going to put your name. See, I have to search you. I did. Should have had that. Couple clicks, and I got you. I'm going to drop that in the chat so you guys can message her on LinkedIn if you're watching from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then I did put in the show notes already how to join your private Facebook group. So
Yes.
that's there. Any last questions from the audience before we wrap the show? I know this has been, I think that people make metrics more complicated than it really is.
They really do. And I think one of the things that people struggle with is at the end of the day, holding themselves accountable to filling out the zeros. And that is why people don't fill them out, in my experience, is because they don't want to put in the zeros. When they've done the work, they're like, I filled out my spreadsheet today. Look at all my numbers. Like, yeah, but did you do it yesterday or the day before or the day before? And they're like, oh, no, because they don't want to put the zeros in. So it's just holding yourself accountable and knowing that it's okay to put zeros in occasionally, right? We're all human.
And a zero, okay, I'm the master reframer. Let's not think of a zero as a bad, that's like, oh my gosh, an opportunity for improvement for
Yes.
tomorrow. What am I going to do so that tomorrow there's not a goose egg there? Right?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Is this something that I need to let go? Maybe I don't even need to be in that platform because over and over and over again, it's zero.
Yes. And allowing yourself to find a place that feels comfortable for you to do that work in is another thing. Like today, I was totally blocked from writing content and I was sat at my desk all morning and like, this isn't happening. So I took myself, we have a huge shopping center down the road. I took myself to the shopping center and I sat in a coffee shop and I smashed it out in an hour because I was in the zone and I wasn't going anywhere and I just needed to get it done. Whereas if I
Change
was
your
sat at my,
location. Yes.
yeah, if I sat at my desk just staring at the screen for another 6 hours, I would have put big fat zeros in my KPI spreadsheets rather than just getting up and being like, okay, I'm going to go out for an hour.
I have a question before we wrap. With your Facebook group, not the paid version, the other one, how frequently are you posting in that group? You personally?
So, yeah, my free Facebook group, at least every day, if not twice a day.
Okay.
So, and the content is generally a mixture of sales content, engagement style content, and value content. And then just fun content.
There you go, you guys. All right. So I am going to wrap the show. What we learned today is that metrics are important. Metrics give a snapshot about what you did yesterday and today, and it actually fuels you about what you can do better tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
It's nothing to feel bad about. It just gives you an opportunity to understand where growth needs to happen, where you might need to beef things up a little bit so that you can have the ultimate success and the business of your dreams, so you can be like us and travel the world and drink wine under the Eiffel Tower.
Yay! More women should be doing that.
Yeah, well, if I have my way, my long-term goal is to have retreats, international retreats for independent location women. Yes. So that we can have those retreats, we can work on whatever we're like, okay, maybe we're going to meet up in Spain this quarter and we're going to do a quarter's worth of social media content. And we have a graphic designer there and we have a writer there and we just knock it all out together. We have so much fun and that's done. Right? Yes. Just these little workshops where we can get together because it gets lonely on the road. Right? When you're all alone, I'm in a female nomad group right now where they say, I'm lonely. I'm not making friends because I'm going to leave again. What about the dating scene? So getting together, building community that maybe travels together, things like that, things I'm working on.
Yeah, community is so important. And that's one of the reasons I love Facebook groups, because they have just exploded over the last year in terms of people wanting to connect with communities, wanting to feel more a part of something. Mm-hmm. And we've all been sat in our own homes, being isolated and wanting to connect with people on a deeper level. So it is a fantastic thing to be able to build a community.
Yes. And I love community. I mean, women, I'm not a man, so I don't know, but I can just tell you that I love my Facebook friends. Yeah. I love the people I've met on LinkedIn, that community. I don't feel alone. I live alone. Right? I don't feel alone. I never feel alone. I'm good. As a matter of fact, I like my alone walks on the beach. I like my alone time.
Yeah. I have met some fantastic people in real life that I met on Facebook groups and in communities. And when I was traveling, I became the person that people would recommend talking to, because they were like, there's this chick Disha that I met once in this city and she's always around this area. So if you send her a message, she'll probably go out for dinner with you. That was me. I would get random messages. My friend met you for dinner 6 months ago. She said you might be around this city. I'm like, I am. Let's go for dinner.
I'll be a friend with everybody. I just met up with a friend in Paris that I was in a digital marketing group in 2016. We kind of have stayed in touch. I watched her journey that she had relocated to Paris with her son. She's a single mom. And I reached out and I'm like, I'm going to be in Paris. Do you want to get together? We had so much fun. We went to a business networking group. We went out for drinks. We went dancing. I ended up crashing on her couch. We had so much fun. And that was through building a relationship with somebody, a like-minded woman in a Facebook group.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's
so fun.
Community, right?
Yeah, so fun. I have friends around the world that love it. I wouldn't change it. There's not enough days in the world to meet the beautiful souls that are out there in the world to meet. That's just a mantra that I live by. Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap the show. Disha, stay on. I went totally off topic today, but you guys it's fun. I love meeting my guests. I love interacting with you. Thank you to Precious. Thank you to Tori. Thank you to Sherry Robertson for showing up. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chats post show. We'll get to you. Have a great day. Be inspired to go out and sell more, touch more lives, and change more in the world.